Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Stephanie Domarach. We want to get right on to breaking news now. Westbound I-84 is closed for 16 miles near Multnomah Falls. Now, ODOT tells us that this is a major crash that involved a semi-truck. Our Chris McGinnis is here with more on how this could impact traffic. Chris?
Yeah, so as you said, Interstate 84 right now is closed westbound in the Columbia River Gorge. The closure is the crash scene, I should say, is just a couple of miles west of Multnomah Falls near Bridalveil. That's where the westbound incident is. There's a number of emergency responders on the road dealing with that. The closure starts out at Cascade Locks, where they're asking folks to divert off the freeway and take the Bridge of the Gods over to Stevenson and then continue on SR 14 all the way into Vancouver. So a huge detour there. And I want to show you this real quick. This is Multnomah Falls. This is the parking lot. There is the westbound traffic that is lined up miles from the crash scene near Bridalveil. So if you are headed westbound out of Hood River or Cascade Locks, skip 84, head over to SR 14, or you could, of course, take the long way around the mountain, Highway 26. But Stephanie, typically crashes involving semis on the freeway take hours to clear. And no doubt these folks that are stuck in this lineup are going to be delayed for some time. We will keep you posted as we get more information.
All right, Chris, thank you so much.
You know, if you're going to do anything, you got to do it right.
Well, we are just hours away from the Firefighters performance tonight at Providence Park. It is the first concert at the venue in almost 2 decades, and fans knew it and were excited. They started to line up outside the park before 5 a.m. this morning. Now, our Thomas Schultz was out at Providence Park and brings us the story.
Well, this is something that has been in the works for years. In 2019, Providence Park underwent $130 million in renovations, all to be able to hold concerts like this one. Like a DJ in daylight, Providence Park has bided its time to crank up some tunes. Now,
we felt like there was really no better time to bring concerts back to Portland.
It's happening Friday night at 5:30. Foo Fighters kick off the first concert here since 2005, joining a list of performers like Elvis Presley and David Bowie, who left their mark on downtown Portland.
We could not think of a more iconic band to open up concerts at Providence Park, so we're really
Heather
excited
Davis,
to welcome
Providence Park CEO, says hundreds of workers and more than a dozen forklifts have worked around the clock to prep the outdoor venue for 30,000 attendees.
It's an all-hands-on-deck situation, for sure.
All hands working to bring more people back downtown.
Probably 65 to 70% of the people coming to this concert will be from outside Multnomah County.
And make Portland a can't-miss stop for touring musicians.
This is now a venue that will allow tours to stop here in Portland on their way from California to Seattle. Most often, tours were just bypassing Portland in the past.
Though days of bypassing the Rose City seem to have come to an end by resurrecting a venue that stood quiet for far too long.
It's going to be a really epic night.
And the concert doesn't stop after tonight. In late September, Green Day and the Smashing Pumpkins are also going to be here at Providence Park. Now, the CEO, Heather Davis of Providence Park, says there's going to be more concerts going into the future in 2025. She wouldn't reveal who is going to come, but she said it's big, exciting news. At Providence Park, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Absolutely. A lot of excitement around that. Thanks so much, Thomas. And with large summer events like tonight's concert, health officials in Multnomah County are warning people to avoid unlicensed food carts that are often set up outside the stadium. Now, officials say without a license, they can't verify if the food vendors are selling is safe to eat. Local and licensed vendors will have a bright green permit on display like the one you see on your screen. And taking a quick break from your headlines for a look at what's in store weather-wise. Let's get over to Rod Hill with more on that. Hey, Rod.
Yeah, you know, we're great out there this afternoon. It will be mainly clear out there this evening, but this low is still on a track that will drop it south, strengthen it, curl it up to the northwest, and give us a solid threat of thunderstorm activity the latter part of tomorrow afternoon into Saturday night. So here's Futurecast, 4 o'clock Saturday. Everything's coming up from the south to the north. Look at that, 6:30. That could be a big time downpour with lightning, potential hail, potential gusty winds. And all of this will continue to move throughout the evening hours. The National Weather Service has the Cascades and a slight risk for severe weather, which means there could be some large hail, 3/4 to an inch in diameter of the ice, if you will, and potentially some winds gusting to 58 or 60 miles per hour with some of these heavier storms as well. Heavy rain, flash flooding. You know, if we get an inch of rain with some of these storms in 20 minutes, which we could, that type of rain rate, that will produce flooding on lowlands and intersections here in the city, and that could be a problem area. Now for this afternoon, we'll be 82 at 5 o'clock. Right now it's 73. More on the weekend storm threat coming up.
All right, Rod, we'll see you soon for that. Thank you. Well, 65 firefighters from Australia and New Zealand are here in the Northwest to help battle wildfires as part of a mutual aid agreement with the U.S. Now, this is the 8th time since the year 2000 that firefighters have come here from Australia. State officials say there are 85 active fires in Oregon right now, and more than 1 million acres have already burned this year. A tool that will help firefighters on the ground recently took off in Oregon. It's a massive wildfire monitoring balloon made by a South Dakota-based company called Aerostar. It's been flying high-altitude balloons over wildfires for several years. They're outfitted with solar panels and heat-sensing cameras that can help map the spread of wildfires from as high as 70,000 feet. Though the one they launched in Baker City earlier this month is a little different.
What was really unique is that we're carrying a LTE payload that can beam that data directly down to firefighters that are right on the front lines of the fire.
And that means firefighters can get images of the fires they're fighting in real time, sent straight to their phones, making for safer and more effective firefighting. Meantime, 2 Washington drone engineers believe they hold the key to changing police response as we know it. And recent moves by a federal agency are boosting their chances to make that change. Police in Redmond, Washington are using drones to respond to 911 calls, but they're limited by a current rule from the FAA. But now some think they can get that rule changed and disrupt the industry entirely. Maddie White from our sister station in Seattle has the story.
It will be a game changer.
Redmond PD Chief Darrell Lowe
Very exciting.
is taking his police work to new heights.
We responded to bank robberies. We responded to people who had fled from our officers.
But right now, under FAA rules, if you want to fly a drone,
It does require a visual observer.
you have to have another person stand outside and watch it while it's in flight, keeping an eye out for planes, balloons, and more. It takes a toll on staffing resources and limits how far the drone can fly. However,
There is technology available that we are working with the FAA to validate or prove the concept.
that technology available lives within the 4 walls of this office in Kirkland.
On the ground, on a tripod, for example, and then it's looking up at the airspace and it's clearing everything in the airspace from the ground.
Echodyne radar. It works in tandem with a drone as a first responder, also called DFR.
This is the one that would be used for DFR, mounted, on a building somewhere.
They're partnering with Seattle-based Brink, which makes the drones Redmond PD just purchased.
Their particular product is going to be a game changer.
The 3 are now working to prove the radar's safety to the FAA.
Now with the FAA making more and more approvals, we feel very good about it.
And that will be the next game-changing innovation that the Redmond Police Department will bring to this community.
That was Maddie White reporting, and it is becoming more and more feasible. 2 weeks ago, for the first time ever, the FAA authorized drones to fly in Texas without visual observers. A new waiver to do the same has been submitted based on the technology. Now, if authorized, they are hoping that more police departments will follow in Redmond's footsteps. Anna Barbosu was awarded the Olympic bronze medal this morning after the Romanian gymnast bumped USA's Jordan Childs off the podium thanks to a court ruling. Now, the 18-year-old initially finished 3rd in the floor exercise final in Paris, only for Team USA to appeal the score awarded to Childs. And Childs' score was upgraded, putting her ahead of Barbosu, who dropped her Romanian flag and broke down in tears in that moment. However, the Court of Arbitration for Sport later ruled that the U.S. appeal came outside the permitted 1-minute window. And that controversy has continued beyond the end of the games, with Childs yesterday slamming the unjust decision, she called it, and the racially driven attacks that have followed.